In the lush, fertile lands of the Reach, where golden fields stretch as far as the eye can see and ancient castles rise above the mist, stands Horn Hill, the proud seat of House Tarly, renowned throughout the realm for their unwavering strength, martial discipline and storied legacy. Into this world of warriors and tradition, Samwell Tarly was born as the firstborn son and heir, destined to carry on the family name. But from his earliest days, Samwell was different, gentle, thoughtful and endlessly curious, drawn to the quiet sanctuary of the library rather than the clamour of the training yard. He found true joy in stories, music and the pursuit of knowledge, not in the clash of swords or the hunt. His father, Lord Randyll Tarly, a man of iron will and rigid expectations, saw only weakness in Samwell's gentle heart and scholarly ways. No matter how fiercely Randyll pushed, Samwell could not be forged into the hardened soldier his father demanded. He was a scholar in a house of hunters, an outcast in his own home, often left to dine alone with his books as his only companions. While his kin trained for war and glory, Samwell immersed himself in histories, legends, and the mysteries of the world. He lived in the long shadow of his father's disappointment, a curiosity and sometimes a source of ridicule among his kin. Yet within the pages of ancient books, Samwell found a quiet courage and a flicker of hope that one day he might prove himself in his own way. He was a thinker in a world that prized action, a dreamer in a family of doers. This gentle soul, born to a house of warriors, was about to be thrust into a world far harsher and more dangerous than any he'd ever imagined. Samwell's journey was just beginning, and the road ahead would test him in ways he could never have foreseen. The boy who never seemed to fit would soon face challenges that no Tarly before him had ever encountered. And in those trials, Samwell would discover a new kind of strength, the strength to be true to himself, no matter the cost. Lord Randyll's disappointment in his eldest son soon twisted into cruelty, a bitterness that coloured every word and action between them. He subjected Samwell to relentless, brutal trials, forcing him to train as a warrior, hoping to beat the softness out of him and mould him into the heir he wanted. But Samwell's gentle spirit, far from breaking, only grew stronger in quiet defiance. He clung to his kindness, refusing to become the hardened soldier his father demanded. When a second son, Dickon, was born, strong, athletic and eager to please, Samwell became an inconvenience, a reminder of everything Lord Randyll despised. On Samwell's 15th birthday, his father delivered a chilling ultimatum: take the black and join the Night's Watch, or die in a hunting accident. There would be no place for weakness in House Tarly. Faced with the threat of death or a life in exile, Samwell chose survival, renouncing his name, his inheritance, and the family that had never truly accepted him. Disinherited and cast out, he was sent north to the Wall, a frozen fortress at the edge of the world, to guard the realms of men alongside outcasts and criminals. For Lord Randyll, it was a solution to a problem. For Samwell, it was a terrifying new beginning, filled with uncertainty and fear. He left behind everything he knew, his home, his mother, and the warmth of the Reach, stepping into a world colder and more dangerous than he could ever have imagined. The boy who once found comfort in books and stories was now bound for a brotherhood of outcasts, where strength was valued above all else. Samwell's exile was not just a punishment, it was the beginning of a journey that would test his courage, reshape his destiny, and ultimately change him forever. He was alone, stripped of everything familiar but not defeated. Deep inside, hope flickered. The Wall awaited, a place of legend and hardship, and with it a chance for Samwell to discover his own worth, far from his father's shadow. Samwell Tarly's true test had begun, and the path ahead would demand more courage than he ever thought he possessed. The journey north was harsh, from the Green Reach to the Frozen Wall. Castle Black was a grim fortress, home to criminals and outcasts. Samwell, unused to hardship, struggled in the training yard and became the target of ridicule. Sir Alistair Thorne mocked him, and the other recruits followed suit. Every day brought humiliation and pain, pushing Samwell to the brink. Yet, the Night's Watch was a place where a man's worth could be redefined. Samwell's intelligence and kindness, though unrecognized, were his true strengths. At the edge of the world, he was about to find something he'd never had, a true friend. And that friendship would change everything. At his lowest, Samwell found an unlikely protector, Jon Snow. Jon, skilled and respected, understood what it meant to be an outsider. He shielded Samwell from abuse, forging a powerful friendship. Jon saw Samwell's intellect as a weapon, not a weakness. With Jon's help, Samwell became Maester-in-training's steward, tending the library and ravens. For the first time, Samwell's skills were valued. He was no longer Sir Piggy, but a keeper of knowledge and a true brother. Their bond was a rare warmth in the cold of Castle Black. Samwell's purpose was clear. He belonged, not as a warrior but as a scholar. In Jon, he found courage. In Samwell, Jon found trust. Together they proved that brotherhood could be forged in the harshest of places. Samwell's journey was no longer one of survival, but of transformation. The gentle boy from Hornhill was finding his place in the world. Peace at Castle Black was shattered by reports of wildlings and missing rangers. Lord Commander Mormont led a great ranging beyond the wall, and Samwell was chosen as his aide. The journey was terrifying, but Samwell performed his duties with quiet diligence. At Craster's Keep, Samwell met Gilly, a frightened young woman desperate to save her unborn son from a terrible fate. Samwell promised to help her, awakening a new courage within him. At the Fist of the First Men, Jon Snow discovered dragonglass weapons, giving Samwell a dagger. The storm was gathering, and Samwell was unknowingly armed for what was to come. The boy who feared everything was about to face legends made real. His promise to Gilly would test him in ways he never imagined. The coming darkness would demand more than knowledge. It would demand bravery, and Samwell was about to discover his own. The storm broke with an attack by the dead. Wights and others descended on the Night's Watch. In the chaos, Samwell failed to send warning messages, paralyzed by terror. Fleeing through the blizzard, Samwell and his companions were confronted by an other. Paralyzed by fear, Samwell blindly stabbed with his dragonglass dagger. The other shattered, vanishing into mist. Samwell had killed a legend. News of his deed spread. Sam the Slayer, the boy who had done the impossible. It was accidental bravery, but it proved courage is acting despite fear. Samwell, once mocked as a coward, had become a hero in the eyes of his brothers. He survived not by strength, but by heart and luck. The legend of Sam the Slayer was born in a moment of pure terror. He had faced the darkness and lived, and in doing so, he changed the story of the Night's Watch forever. The survivors staggered back to Craster's Keep, only to face mutiny and murder. Amid chaos, Samwell made a dying promise to Lord Commander Mormont and remembered his vow to Gilly. He fled with Gilly and her newborn, braving the deadly wilderness. Attacked by a wight, Samwell found courage again, fighting for Gilly and the child. They were saved by Cold Hands, a mysterious protector who led them to the Night Fort and the secret Black Gate. There, Samwell helped Bran Stark and his companions on their own quest, keeping their secret. Samwell's journey was now one of trust and responsibility. He was no longer just a steward, but a keeper of promises and secrets. He had saved lives and carried burdens far heavier than any sword. In the darkness, Samwell's heart proved stronger than fear. He was becoming the man he never thought he could be. Back at Castle Black, the Night's Watch was leaderless and divided. Samwell saw the danger of the wrong man taking command. Using his intellect, he devised a plan to unite the Watch behind Jon Snow. He persuaded rival candidates to withdraw and support Jon, turning the tide of the election. Jon Snow became Lord Commander, thanks to Samwell's quiet cunning. It was a victory won not with swords, but with words and wisdom. Samwell, once afraid of conflict, had saved the Watch from itself. His mind was his greatest weapon. The scholar from Hornhill had changed the fate of the Wall. Samwell Tarly had found his voice and his power. With Jon as Lord Commander, the Night's Watch entered a new era, one marked by uncertainty but also by hope. Jon's leadership brought both change and challenge to the Wall, and his decisions would ripple far beyond the frozen north. Samwell was sent to the Citadel in Old Town to become a Maester, a journey that would test his courage and intellect in ways he never imagined. Old Town, with its gleaming towers and ancient libraries, promised knowledge and a new beginning. He travelled south with Gilly, her child, and the dying Maester Aemon, braving long roads and uncertain dangers. Each mile carried them further from the wall, but closer to a destiny Samwell could scarcely comprehend. Aemon passed away on the journey, leaving Samwell grieving but resolute. The loss weighed heavily on his heart, but it also steeled his resolve to honour Aemon's memory and fulfill his mission. In Old Town, Samwell met Archmaester Marwyn and revealed the truth about the Others and Dragonglass. The secrets he carried from the Wall were met with skepticism, but also with a spark of curiosity from Marwyn. Marwyn, intrigued by Samwell's tale, set off to find Daenerys, leaving Samwell to begin his studies. Alone in a city of scholars, Samwell faced new challenges, but also new opportunities to prove himself. Samwell, once cast out as a coward, was now a novice maester, his intellect, kindness and loyalty his true armour. He pored over ancient tomes, determined to find answers that could save the realm. He had faced ancient evils, saved the innocent and shaped the future of the Night's Watch. His actions, though quiet, had far-reaching consequences, touching lives he would never know. Samwell may never see himself as a hero, but his quiet courage had changed the world. In moments of doubt, he remembered those he had helped and the friends he had made along the way. True heroism, he learned, is not the strength of your arm, but the strength of your heart. It is found in compassion, in loyalty, and in the willingness to do what is right, even when no one is watching. The boy from Horn Hill had become a legend in his own right. His story would inspire others to find courage within themselves, no matter their fears. His journey was far from over, but Samwell Tarly had finally found where he belonged. In the halls of the Citadel, he discovered not just knowledge, but a sense of purpose and home. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all, a life transformed by courage, friendship, and the quiet strength to change the world.